it was a trip. So it took in part of Westchester, Fairfield, Hamilton, I think it was New Miami, and like it went all the way to the end of like the Indiana-Ohio border. So it was huge. It was a huge, huge area. And when I got there, there were 3 sets of missionaries there. Hamilton's really interesting because out of all of the members in the ward, like all of the members within ward boundaries, only, let me see what this statistic is. About 3/4 of them are less active, and half of those less actives are like very much do not contact us, like stay out, get off my porch, I'll bring my gun out type of people. So that was kind of fun. And our job for a little bit there was to go through the do not contact list and agitate them and ask them if they really didn't want to be members of the church. Every one of them said yes, they were not interested. And even a couple of the people that we were trying to find that we didn't know about, they didn't want anything to do with us either. And so that was kind of what could be considered a struggling ward. A lot of these people had gone less active because they had taken offense of something someone had said. And so to kind of try to solve this problem, they created a twig, which is not a branch. The technical word is a group, but because it's smaller than a branch, we called it the twig. So the Hamilton Twig met in downtown Hamilton in a building separate from the stake center. And they met in a one-room building that was attached to our bishop's law office. And there is no AC in the summertime. And there were probably about 35 members that we never really had 35 members come, but it fluctuated between 15 to 35 members that would show up. And so, and half of those members were some older couples in the ward that were very active members that they just needed basically to keep priesthood there and to preside over the congregation. So up until the new bishopric came in, about a month and a half into my time there, they changed up the bishopric, and the bishop that had been there for about 6 to 8 years got released, and then got put in the stake presidency. And then they called it, in addition to the 2 counselors to the bishopric, they called a third one, and he was in charge specifically of the twig. So he would go to the twig meetings and preside over sacrament meeting and things like that, so that they didn't have to bring another bishopric member down every week just to preside over the sacrament meeting. So it was a really interesting dynamic. And a lot of the people that met at the twig were those people that had been offended, older people with health problems that didn't do so great in crowds, a lot of mentally disabled people, actually. Hamilton, I think last I heard, Hamilton had the highest concentration of mentally handicapped people in the state of Ohio. So you met some really awesome, really interesting people. And there's a set of elders that was specifically assigned to the twig. So they were trying to make it an independent branch, and they're still working on it. Last I heard, they were moving to a bigger building somewhere in downtown Hamilton because their numbers are getting bigger, which is a huge deal. It's so exciting to hear the little updates that come from that branch, because it was like a family. So we, as the sisters, we did a lot of work in both areas, in Hamilton and in the twig. And so we would go to church at the Hamilton ward, and then right after church we would go to twig just for sacrament meeting. Because sacrament meetings started when the Hamilton block of meetings ended. We got asked to teach Relief Society and Sunday school a couple times, give talks, bear testimonies in the twig, and there were lots of opportunities to serve in the Hamilton ward because of the large number of less active and returning members. And that was it. it was such a cool experience to be able to work with all of these people. There were a handful of families that were so strong and would do anything you asked them to do. And they all had like 9 kids or 6 kids, and they were all homeschooled too at the same time. And it was so incredible to see the amount of effort that they put into building up this ward and building up the missionary work. And we saw a lot of success working with part member families and less active families that like through referrals with them. And just getting the word out there. The ward was kind of split in half, where half of the ward was really affluent, lots of really nice, like the Westchester area was a very nice area. And then there was the Knob. That's a dirty acronym, but everyone calls it the Knob. It's Keep Black People Off Block. So there were definitely some stereotypes there that you had to be aware of. The Knob was just this little hill that was in the middle of Hamilton that was high crime, high drugs, high everything, high prostitution, just like crazy stuff went on there all the time. And so we were very careful about the time of day that we went there. But when we did go there, we felt like there was a reason that we kept coming back. And there was one family in particular that we had the opportunity to teach that we think was part of the reason why we kept being drawn to the Knob. But everywhere else in Hamilton was pretty much middle class and below. And so there were lots of opportunities to serve in the community and to build awareness of the church and the good things that it does. And with 3 sets of missionaries, you could cover a lot of ground. So there would be people that we'd be walking down the street and they'd be like, "Hey, we saw your buddies just a couple hours ago, and we saw your other buddies like yesterday." And like because the 3 of our areas almost merged at one point in a little area. And so a lot of people knew who we were, and there were a lot of people looking out for us too. And a lot of people would come up to us and tell us, that street's not a good street to be on today. Stay away. Did you hear about what's happening down the street? Like, you might want to stay clear of that. And lots of people really loved the missionaries, but it was hard to get people to progress in those areas. Where we saw the most members progressing was were with people where the members were very, very supportive and very involved, and just took them under their wing and helped them with their questions all the way through the process. And working with those members was one of the most incredible things, because I learned so much about the kind of parent I wanted to be, the kind of sister I want to be, the kind of missionary I needed to be, and the type of leader that I needed to be in the church. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I thought, if I had to move back to Cincinnati, what ward that I served in would I want to live in? And I can think of lots of reasons for all of the areas of reasons why I would want to raise my family there or something. But one of the reasons for the Hamilton ward is because there's lots of opportunities for active members to serve, and they just need those active members to be able to keep the work going and keep to work with the members and build relationships with them and really just help the work move forward. And I think that's somewhere that I can see myself, despite some of the rougher areas in that ward, there's a lot of good things going on that I would want to be a part of in the future. And I feel that way about all of my areas, really, because it's all home to me. Like, I always think of how much I love it. Every single day I think about my mission. I think about the lessons that I learned, the people that I love, and the people that I look forward to seeing again in the near future, hopefully.